spent my first 15 years trying to get out of the woods because I thought it was horrible. And I spent the next 20 years trying to get back. The truth of the matter is we need to be well-rounded individuals like our forefathers were.
Hey, everybody out there in live land. This is Steve with Mountain Readiness. Glad you guys could join us again for another Mountain Readiness Monday. We've got some storms rolling through, some rain, some much needed rain. I will tell you that right now. The homestead has been starved for rain, finally getting a little precipitation out here. So I'm not mad about it. I feel bad that my wife Amber is out there doing chores right now, but you know, duty calls. We've had a busy weekend. Yesterday processed a bunch of chickens, doing all the things, trying to stock the freezers. What you guys been out there in live land doing? There's my man Patrick Seven. How you doing, brother? Ramona Howard, thank you. Deanna Rogers, guys, appreciate you being a part of the show tonight. And remember, like, share, subscribe. Of course, my wife there, she said, don't lie, you don't feel bad. I actually do, babe. I really do. I wish I could be there with you, and I will. I'm sure there'll be some leftovers here after the show's over. But we got a great show tonight, guys. We'll see how deep we can get into the weeds and see if we can make YouTube mad, because that's just how it is. And there's Amy Schaefer. Amy, thanks for the intro, of course. Appreciate you jumping into the chat as well. Let's take care of the laundry here. So, of course, tonight's episode is brought to you by the Sovereign Health Summit. Sovereign Health Summit right here. We're going to be doing this October the 27th through the 31st. If you cannot make it, we do have a live stream package available to you, so you can be there with us no matter what. This is important stuff, guys. Health. It is your number one prep. I don't care how much stuff you have. I don't know how much food on the shelf, how awesome of gear that you have stashed away. If you don't have your health, then you ain't got nothing. You just got a bunch of stuff. I have a good friend of mine just down the road, and he is really into the preparedness thing. He has, I'm not even saying metric tons of food and things sitting there. And I was over there talking to him, and he said, you know, Bob, if anything ever goes sideways and I can't get these medications, because I'm on like 10 of them, he said, this here is up for the taking. You know where it's at. And that's what really made me something click. And I was like, we really need to start working on moving that needle. And so the Sovereign Health Summit was born with my partner, Billy Bond with Permapastures Farm. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Soil Saviors. If you want nutrient-dense health, in nutrient-dense food, you need nutrient-dense soil. There we go. I got it out. And of course, our good friends, Pat Miletich, UFC champion, and Doc Will Spencer, Soil Saviors and Cell Saviors. These guys are working diligently to make sure that you get products that you need to have nutrient-dense soil, and their products are bar none some of the best I've ever used. I use the Cell Saviors folic acid, their salt. It's made a huge difference in my life. Scan that right there if you're interested in either of those, Soil Saviors, Cell Saviors, and you will not be disappointed. And at the checkout, if you go to mountainreadiness.com, actually the links are below. There's a discount code in there as well, so you can save a couple bucks. Also, Mountain Readiness West is coming up here very shortly. They're in good old Montana, Swan Lake, in the furthest corner, northwestern corner of the state, 1 hour from Glacier National Park. We are stoked. It's going to be a blast. We've got an awesome bunch of instructors that are rolling down with us, the usual crew, as well as new instructors that are from that area. It's going to be an awesome time, guys. If you can, take take and make the trip. If you're local, come see us. If you're not local, man, take the kids, the family. We've got some awesome kids classes lined up. And of course, 80-acre veteran-owned lodge. We are supporting a great cause, helping these guys keep the wheels moving. So make sure to check that out, and you won't be disappointed. What do we got in the chat still? We've got a bunch of chats. We got people out here. Guys, remember to like, share, subscribe, throw some love out there and everything. If you have questions tonight, and I didn't put it in my little banner thing because Russ of Oz isn't doing all my buttons. He's on vacation. You know, that guy usually does all that stuff behind the curtain. Hashtag Warrior Mom. If you have a question, hashtag Warrior Mom. We're going to be talking with Tracy here in a second, but let me go ahead and bring Tracy out before I do the intro here that I've got wrote down. Tracy, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So for everybody out there who has not heard of you and what you are doing, guys, tonight we're joined by Tracy Slepcevic. I think I got that right.
Yes.
Yes, I knew it. Tracy is an Air Force veteran, certified integrative health practitioner, best-selling author of Warrior Mom, and the founder of Autism Health and the Autism Health Summit. Well, it started as a mother's determination to help her son, Noah, after an autism diagnosis, turned into a lifelong journey of research, learning, and advocacy that's helped families around the world. Tonight, we'll dive into Noah's story and the challenges Tracy faced along the way and lessons she's learned that every parent could benefit from. You have had a very full past, 20 years now? How old is Noah?
Noah's going to be 21 next month.
21 years of diligently fighting the fight.
Yes.
That is awesome. We were talking just a second before we went live out here, guys. And, I have never really looked into autism, anything other than what's thrown out there to us, the narrative that autism is just it's just the bum rap genetics. You got unlucky. Here you go, deal with it. And this is what it is. And so delving into, after Amy sent over your info and getting on your website, I was like, this is not the case. It appears. I got on your website and it said, let me pull this up because I wrote this down and it blew my mind. It was a number of how much autism has went up. It says autism prevalence has increased 380% since 2000. Like, are you serious? Like if that's genetics, like we are on the downhill slope quickly. That number is insane. So let's get into kind of where this all started with your son. So you're military, and Noah's your first son or your first child, correct?
He is my first and only.
First and only. So take us back almost 21 years now, and kind of how this started for you.
Well, he was born a normal, healthy baby, and he met all his milestones the first year. And at about 18 months old, I took him in for his well baby visit, where he received his MMR and varicella. And within 24 hours, he broke out in what the pediatrician told me was a rash, but it was actually measles within 24 hours. And he had a high-grade fever for about a week. And by the way, he didn't die from measles, just so you know.
Right.
For all those news scared people out there, we have better healthcare these days. But anyways, over the next several months, I watched Noah lose all his speech, all of his baby signs. He had baby signs as well. A lot of cognitive function and a lot of motor skills. So a kid who could climb and jump and play could no longer do those things anymore. And it was like a deer in the headlights, blank stare. And it was like he was just lost to us.
How
I was
quickly
told this
did
was
that
normal, by the way?
Of course. how quickly? So you take them in for the wellness visit and they do the booster stuff and all that. I mean, how quickly did you see that change in him?
Over the next 2 to 3 months, I started to see him slowly regress into a state of autism. Now, did I know it was autism? I had no idea, because my idea of autism was Dustin Hoffman's character in The Rain Man way back when.
Yeah, right.
And when I was growing up, autism was 1 in 10,000. So we didn't see individuals with autism around. They weren't in classrooms. It wasn't prevalent back then. And now it's 1 in 31 8-year-olds. So I
Now say this
specify
again. It was 1 in 10,000, and now it's what?
1 in 31 8-year-olds. So I say, because they do the study on 8-year-olds only. So most kids are diagnosed between the ages of 2 and 6. Typically, if they don't have a diagnosis by 6, that's, there's something wrong with the provider.
Right.
But so, and then the evaluation, or I mean, the study is done every 4 years. So we're always 4 years behind. So I think the last one was done in 2022. And then Kennedy released it in 2025, right? Last year. Yep.
Right.
So yeah, we're a bit behind the 8 ball. And, they don't do a general study between the ages of 2 and 18. So I would probably say that autism is more like 1 in 10.
Good grief. Good grief. I mean, just the numbers that you're kicking out here. And it seems like I just watched or listened to a podcast with Seth with Man in America. He had Dr. Artis on there. And great show, and they were talking about parasites and all they basically said, if you have pets, if you have farm animals, if you basically live in the United States, you got parasites, and how linking to all these type of things, and then you throw in whatever's fallen from the sky and the foods that we eat, that it still blows my mind to walk through the grocery store and almost everything has a bioengineered label on it. Not to mention, just the ridiculous amounts of processing and sugar and, seed oils and all these kind of stuff. And I'm like, what has happened to this country? Where are we at? I mean, and it's accepted. It's accepted. I actually saw something on social media. Someone was talking about a fast food restaurant, not to mention the names, but they were like, here's what's in this. And people were like, man, I don't care. I'll eat it. And that's the mindset in this day and age. So, going back to Noah and where he was at, his diagnosis and things like that with the boosters. Can I ask, did they tell you it was a have to, you had to, did they tell you have an option to, you can give them these, or did they make it sound like, this is, you need to get these, period?
So back then it wasn't there, there were no forced vaccinations when Noah was little. Now there is. They can't force them. They can tell them that they can't attend school, but they can't force them to get vaccinations. So if a parent chooses not to, a lot of times the pediatricians these days will refuse to care for that child. But I'm here to tell you, you don't really need a pediatrician. If your child is sick and you have insurance, just go to urgent care. And
sometimes it's cheaper.
Yeah. So the only thing a well baby visit is designed for is to get vaccinations. That's it.
Right. Push that agenda. The reason I asked, my eldest daughter, she's 28 now. And, I had her when I was young. I was 19 when Taylor was born. When she was born, right there afterwards, she couldn't keep any food down. It would just come right back up no matter what. They were giving us all kinds of different stuff, try this, try that. Could not. So the next thing I know, I'm still working. I still have to maintain a job, no insurance, trying to pay for everything. And I come in, and my daughter, is only a couple of days old. She's in the hospital bed. They've got her hooked up to all kinds of wires and plugs, stuff in her head, all these things. The doctor comes in and he's, first they tell us, hey, you got to get, these boosters, right out of the gate. You got to have these boosters here. And so, this guy basically told us, you didn't have a choice. Your baby has to have them. And being young and stupid, we thought this was just what you did. And then of course, right after that, all of a sudden she's throwing her food up all over the place. Can't keep it down. So she's plugged in. They've got her hooked up to all kinds of garbage. And the doctor comes in and he's like, Mr. Toombs, I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to do a surgery on your daughter. And I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? You're telling me that, she can't keep food down. There's got to be something. He's like, well, we think something's in her throat and we may even have to go into her stomach to do all these things. And that's where I put the brakes on. I was like, look, man, we're going to go get a second opinion here. So go ahead and unhook all this crap out of my daughter. I'm going to get her, put her in the car. We're going to go to the hospital. We were living in Richmond, Indiana at the time, and ended up going to Indianapolis to Riley. Before we leave, it got so heated with this doctor, he insisted that we needed to do a surgery on my daughter, that the security was called. And I flat out told him and the security, I said, look, you need to call cops right now. You either unhook this stuff or call the cops, because somebody else going to go to jail. It's probably going to be me, but I'm taking my daughter out of this hospital. And so finally, after about, a half hour heated discussion, we took her to Riley, and in an hour, we walked out of there just fine. I don't know what they gave her. It was some pill. They said, the elasticity in her stomach, it just, it wasn't enough elasticity there. So now you're fixed. Zero problems after that as far as the stomach thing. And I'm like, this is kind of where I started questioning, maybe our best interest isn't always on the menu there.
No. And I received a phone call from a friend of mine the other day, and he had called me because a friend of his daughter was in the hospital in Texas, and she had drowned, and she was out for about 20 minutes before they got a heartbeat. And so the hospital just wanted to write her off because they wanted her organs. So they refused to release the little girl into the care of her parents to go to another facility. And so I reached out to a close friend of mine, Dr. Richard Bartlett, who's, a pretty well-known MD down in Texas, but he has ties to senators down there. And he had to assist them with making those connections to get that little girl out of the hospital to try and save her life, which is still possible after being out for 20 minutes, apparently, according to him. So yes, these things, so many different things are happening in different states in regards to children and what they're allowing parents to do. Now, I have no idea. I know I was born in a Catholic hospital. I don't know if that made a difference, but he didn't receive anything when he was born, but he was also under severe fetal distress and had to be taken away to the NICU, but my husband went with them. I didn't really know about the dangers of inoculations. Yeah. And I had no idea. So previously, I was military, and you just get them and it's normal, and that's just the way of life, and that's what happens. So, and nobody ever came up to me and told me that they were dangerous. So I continued to do what my pediatrician told me to do. But typically at birth, they receive the vitamin K shot and they receive the Hep B shot. Vitamin K has one of the biggest black box warnings of any of them on the market, and people just think it's a vitamin, and it's not. So, and then
can we actually say what it is on here with the YouTube, Facebook overseers, or?
Oh, well, it contains aluminum. It contains,
I mean, that alone, like the first thing out of your mouth pretty much so is the no-go for me. So, and especially at birth, this is what they're giving these kids.
I think it contains monkey DNA. You know, ask Amy Shaffert to respond in the comment and to pull up the black box warning. She'll do it.
There you go, Amy. If you're still
But you can
listening,
go
throw
to the
that in there.
CDC website. You can go to the CDC website, go to vitamin K. You can look up the insert for it. It's all public knowledge. It's not anything that I'm telling you that's not, available
Yeah,
through the CDC website. And Hep B, nobody needs a Hep B unless they're sexually active. And even then they don't need it, you know?
right.
So anyway, um, that's what our children are subjected to at birth, which is crazy, a newborn baby. You know, even anything during the first several years, their little brains are developing. You're dumping
Right.
neurotoxins on it, and monkey DNA, and aborted fetus
Yeah.
cells, and there's formaldehyde in a lot of them. The list goes on. I could sit here and just ramble on what's in them. I say
Oh,
it's not a good idea. Do your research. Don't listen to me. I'm totally not a medical doctor. Don't take my advice. Just do your
that's
research.
right. We're not telling you anything to do. Consult your professional physician or caretaker. No, I growing up, we grew up homeschooled, off grid, the whole bit. We weren't exposed to really much public education. We were pretty free thinkers for the most part, and so my mother was into health a whole lot as far as that goes, as much as possible. And so the vaccination things, I mean, I know she went down the rabbit hole quite a bit over the years as we were kids. So I knew there was, we have this immune system that everybody forgets about. It seems like.
Yes.
And so I'm not sure. It always seems though targeting of the children. You send them to the public schools. The education that they're receiving is just insane, brainwashing. And then we also have all these shots right at birth, pumping them full of garbage. And but that's what communism is, I guess.
We used to
Target the
think it was
children.
crazy to homeschool your children. Like they need to be, in a
Yeah.
school setting with other children and make friends and play and get out. And yeah, I'm a fan of it, but not anymore. Unless you want your kid to be brainwashed, which I also got that too. I recovered my son from a severe injury, and he regressed into a severe state of autism. He had no speech, very little motor skills, very low cognition, and I completely turned him around with biomedical intervention. And that's why I wrote the book, and I wrote it years later. When COVID started, I said parents deserve to hear my story because I know what's happening. And
Absolutely.
I just
Absolutely.
keep fighting for families. And now I run the organization, and we do monthly webinars on how to address underlying conditions associated with autism and other neurological disorders, and we do family support groups, all those things. And to me, I just want parents to have other options, because I remember when my neurologist, my pediatrician are like, all that garbage you're reading is nonsense. And,
All right.
you need to face that your child's, going to need care for the rest of his life. Well, I'm here to tell you, Noah is going to be 21 in a few weeks, and he is fully functional. He can take care of himself, and he drives, he works full time, he travels the world all on his own. And
Man.
he does everything. He pays his own bills. He manages his own accounts. And yeah,
But you were supposed to write him off and just accept the fact that this is as good as it's going to get. So, at that point, you brought him home 3 months in. He's just not the same child whatsoever, a complete 180 degrees, the opposite direction.
it was 3 months after his MMRV. those were the ones that triggered it. Did he have a reaction at 2 months, 4 months, and 6 months? Absolutely. He had a fever. And then what do? We rotate Tylenol and Motrin. And acetaminophen opens up the blood-brain barrier. It also damages the liver, depletes glutathione levels, and creates oxidative stress in the body. And did I know that? Absolutely not. Most of those words, I didn't even know what they meant.
Yeah, no doubt. No
um,
doubt.
So I continued to, do what the pediatrician recommended. And after the 2-month ones, he became extremely colicky and was screaming nonstop all the time. After it was either 4 or 6, he got ear infections. He was in with an ear infection almost every month. That was ridiculous. I think after the 4-month ones. I'm the lucky one though. That I consider myself lucky. There's parents whose children don't survive. What is SIDS? SIDS happens between 2 and 6 months of age. And God didn't screw up. Children don't die for no reason. I'm here to tell you. So, and then there are many children that wind up in a wheelchair. Guillain-Barré syndrome. Look at the insert. I'm not hearing side effects. It's all there.
Right.
And or death. So, it is all there. And encephalitis on the brain is probably on every label for every single one, which is brain inflammation, if you don't know. And so imagine when you're given a 2-month-old 6 or 7, and then a 4, pretty much the same, and a 6, pretty much the same number, then, imagine if one can do that. Imagine what all of those do it. So I'm here to tell people always say, but polio vaccine saved lives. Well, I'm here to
Yes.
tell you that lives were already being saved prior to the rollout of the polio. And here's the reason, is because we cleaned up the water systems, clean sanitization of the waters and better healthcare and all those things. So the rate completely dropped and was leveling itself out when they released the polio vaccine. Then it didn't go down. It pretty much just stayed the same. So
Stayed
typically
level.
when you release one, then you're supposed to see an improvement that there's none at all, apparently. But and then here's the big thing too, is research studies. So we think that a real clinical trial is okay. They receive, the vaccine, then they monitor for years to come, right? Because you got to monitor that stuff for a long time.
Right.
And then that they use an inert placebo. And when I say inert placebo, I mean like saline, not like a previous vaccine that's FDA approved. But there was no placebo for the first one because there was no previous whatever to compare it to. And they didn't use saline. So with that, how many days do you think that they monitored for that first study afterwards? How long they monitored their subjects? Guess.
I have a feeling not very long.
Take a guess. Come on, give me a guess.
Man, I'll just throw a week out there. I'll throw a week out there.
Okay. 4 days.
4 days. Good night.
4 days.
So they didn't do it right, like with the COVID vaccinations, where they put all this study into it and stuff like that.
No,
Right.
that was only monitored for a few days too.
Few days, right?
If
That
anybody
was complete
thinks that-
sarcasm. Complete
And
sarcasm.
that was Operation Warp Speed. So
Yes.
nothing should be Operation
Let's get it
Warp Speed.
kicked through as quick as possible. It seems to be the standard thing when it comes to this stuff. Not a lot of studies done into it. Throw it out there and let everybody guinea pig it. It seems like. So we have at what time did you say, okay, this is not working? I'm done listening to my pediatrician. What was the turning point where you had just had enough and we started this warrior mom thing?
Well, I kept going back and asking her over and over and over, what's wrong with my child? This is normal. He just needs speech. It's so normal. 3.5-year-old not speaking. So normal. So not normal. And he
Right.
had speech, and then he lost speech. And that's normal, by the way, too, according to a pediatrician. So at 2 years old, we put him into a preschool. We thought maybe he just needed to engage with other children. He got kicked out of that preschool, and they told us we needed to take him for an evaluation because he wasn't engaging with other children. He was rocking in the corner, he wasn't potty training, he wasn't doing anything. And so we took him for the evaluation at the regional center, and that was the worst evaluation ever. Then they lost our paperwork. They were supposed to forward it on to a clinical psychologist. But it was such a horrible experience that I was like, gosh, I don't ever want to go back here. And then I'm like, okay, we'll try another preschool. And then he got kicked out of that preschool too, although he was
Wow.
being abused by other children, not him abusing anybody else. And this little girl bit him one day and then scratched him another, and then I about lost my stuff. And then the owner looked at me and she said, your kid has special needs and he doesn't belong here. Now the little Detroit girl in me wanted to stick my foot up her derriere, but
Yes.
I wouldn't have served Noah at all being in jail. So I cried a lot, and then lo and behold, God sent me an angel. And this is the beautiful part of my journey. And I went back to the office, and my husband had just hired this front desk lady, and she apparently had a son with autism.
Wow.
And she told me what to do, where to go, and how to do it. And so Noah was already 3 years old at this point. And I had already asked the pediatrician, is there a possibility my son could have autism? And she looked me square in the eye and said, nope, he just needs some speech. And so I rolled it out. And when I met her, she's like, he's over the age of 3 and you can have him evaluated through the school district. Here's your special needs preschool. Call them up, ask them for an evaluation. And so I did. And first we did a phone evaluation. They determined he needed a full evaluation. And then we went in, and this all happened very fast. And he went in, got his evaluation. It was about 3 hours long, very thorough. They were wonderful ladies, all 5 of them. And afterwards, they met for about 20, 30 minutes and came back in and said, I'm sorry, but we do find that Noah is autistic-like. Now, a school district can't formally diagnose the child. But they're like, we're going to give you our services for Noah. He can go to the special needs preschool. And, from there, I had an answer. I didn't have to beat my head up against the wall. And then came angel number 2. So then I saw my naturopathic doctor as I was headed back to the office after the evaluation. And I saw him in the hallway. And he stopped me and said, you know what? Noah's going to be fine. You just need to go home and do your homework. He said, because kids are making great strides with biomedical intervention. Now, I had no idea what biomedical intervention was, but I was like, okay, yay. I'm going to suck the tears back up into my eyes. I'm going to go home. I'm going to do all the research in the world. So I was ordering books. I was going to the library. I was signing up to go to conferences. I went to tea talks, parent meetings, you name it. If I could go to it and learn something, I went. And I learned a lot just from the very first book that I wrote. And then from there, my naturopathic doctor assisted me with finding the right functional medicine doctor for Noah. And back then they called them DAN doctors, Defeat Autism Now is the protocol that they followed. And I found my functional medicine doctor, and she, after looking at his history and everything, and she's like, first of all, that wasn't a rash that your son had. That was measles from the vaccine. And I'm like, well, how do you get it from that? And, she's
Right.
like, well, it doesn't stop you from getting the virus. They pump the virus into you. And so, and by the way, any cases of polio since 1970 are vaccine induced. Just so you know.
Of course.
This
Of course.
is not going to make it through YouTube.
Probably not. I mean, I'm not
sorry.
super, I've got a little bit of popular to me, but not a lot. So it could slip. I don't know if I'm sure you know who Jeff Adams is, My Chronic Silver.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Every time
I
Jeff
love
comes on,
Jeff.
I get dinged. We start talking about silver and bam, we can't, let you.
Really?
Well, oh yeah, man. Jeff and I, every time we talk about silver, we just get smacked.
Jeff
So,
is one of our sponsors for our conference.
Jeff is awesome. Jeff comes to, he was at our last Mountain Readiness event teaching, about silver and its uses. And then of course he's going to be at the Sovereign Health Summit as well, vending there and being a part of that. And he's actually coming up to our Mountain Readiness West in Montana. We're really stoked. Love Jeff. Guy is just salt of the earth and he really knows his stuff. So, no, Jeff gets me smacked every time. So, but if you don't get some hate from the higher powers that shouldn't be, you probably ain't doing it right. So that's all right. My wife is in the comments. She has a question I was going to bring up here in a second, but she is, you being a veteran, my wife is a combat veteran. She did three combat tours, 2 Purple Hearts, 8 years, Afghanistan, Iraq,
Thank
Kuwait.
you for your
She's
service.
You as well. And, but I remember after she had come back and she went reserve for the last few years before she got out. She did 13 years total. They kept messing up and accidentally giving her flu shots over and over and over again. I think she got like 10 flu shots in 1 year. I kid you not.
Sick every time
I thought she was going to die. Like she was literally in like cold sweat laying there for days. And I was like, man, you're about to check out. Do you think that because do you really know what all they give you? Because my understanding, they just put you in the row and say, shot number 1, shot number 2. Do you think this is maybe passed on as well with
the flu shot up until Kennedy stepped into office contained thimerosal. So they claim to have taken it out of the MMR, but it was still in flu shots that they were still giving babies. And most babies receive 3 flu shots in their first year of life.
Good
yeah, because
I've seen it.
Just not enough.
I've seen it so many times. I remember working in Indiana. I was lead mechanic there for the city, and they always give it to you for free. They're like, "Hey, free flu shots. Just stop in." And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And there was a certain gentleman worked there as well. And
from it, it's not free.
Oh yeah, and he said, "Yeah, ain't nothing free.
You pay
ain't nothing free in this world. You're catching something." But I remember this gentleman, he would go every single time and swore by it. And he was like, "Oh man, you've got to go in here." And I was like, "No, I'm good." I remember every time too, we were standing at the time clock, brought the clock out, and he's in a cold sweat. He's just sick as a dog. And I'm like, you just got that flu shot, man. He's, "Oh, it's not that, it's like beating your head against a dead wall. It's like talking to a brick wall, that 2 and 2 equals 4, man. Plain and simple. And of course, like you said, nothing's free, but they offer it up on a silver platter for you.
They do. It's really sad.
So
I mean, my son had received 21 shots in his first year of life.
Good grief. Oh,
and then so you got all those inactive vaccinations, and the reason why they add an adjuvant to it is because it would be ineffective if it didn't kick in an immune reaction. And the only way they could do that is add something into it like an adjuvant that kicks in an immune reaction to make it strong enough as to where it makes your body immune to it.
Right.
But you can also get the virus. Like I said, polio, the only cases of polio since the 70s are vaccine induced. And measles, most kids get measles from
we had them.
The vaccine. So my mom said I got the measles vaccine. So I was born in 75, but she said, first of all, when she took us in, I think total maybe, 10 or 12, but when she took us in, she said you had to be super healthy, no cough or cold. And yet you just had to be super healthy to receive one, and nothing recent. But that was back in the 80s, probably, when I got it. And I still got measles as a child, which actually prevents you from getting shingles as an adult.
Right.
So there's certain things, and it also is supposed to prevent you from getting certain cancers as well by actually getting the virus. Oh, chicken pox. If you get chicken
Chicken
pox,
pox.
it prevents
Yes.
certain cancers. Yes.
I do remember hearing something of that with the chicken pox and measles. I remember, we've had Daniel Salatin out with us with Mountain Readiness. And of course, Joel Salatin talks very strongly. We raise poultry. We sell to the markets. We do all that things here on the homestead. And I remember Joel talking about, with the bird flu and all this stuff, they try to step in, make you cull the entire flock. And because they got to stop the bird flu. And, Joel is that big one who's like, hey, the ones that live, of course, some are going to die, but the ones that live, they built up that immunity that is passed on in the genetics. And that's why you don't do this. He said, it makes you stronger. And so what you're talking about with the measles and, after effects of what it can help you for is, once again, our immune system doing what it was designed to do.
Right. And unfortunately, us, veterans who were in the military and received a whole buttload of vaccines, I know in the first 3 months, my vaccination record says 21 in 3 months.
Okay.
I know, right? But we're, us moms, so military moms, and it's more prevalent in those who have served in the military to have a child with autism because I'm his incubator. So
Exactly.
so unfortunately, you can have pre-genetics. You can also pass down heavy metal toxicity to your child as well, which creates neuroinflammation. So there's a number of contributing factors. You can have pre-genetics for anything, and it's going to be some sort of environmental factor that triggers it. Is it all vaccines? No, it's not. Acetaminophen is a big one. My friend has twins that she didn't vaccinate, because when you have twins, a lot of times they'll tell you to take a baby Tylenol every day. And so she did, and those twins are pretty severely autistic. So there's a number of things: the air you breathe, the volatile organic compounds in everything,
Yes.
our foods, all the crap in our foods. I mean, as you say, all the stuff they spray on us wherever we go, even going to Europe. Europe is so healthy in regards to food. But man, when I was in Vienna a few weeks ago, all I saw were the worst chemtrails I'd ever seen in my life. And when I say the worst,
Wow.
like the whole sky was filled with zigzags. Everywhere.
I hate to hear this. My partner Billy Bond, he was over in El Salvador, and he said, "Man, they lose their mind if anything like that happens." Of course, a bunch of the doctors, holistic healers and doctors, have moved over there because of how clean everything is. Jack Cruz being one of them, which Billy was just over there with him. Of course, Jack doing all as a renowned brain surgeon, and talking about the importance of sunlight and all that kind of thing. So I hate to hear that even in other countries, because I thought we were the ones really getting hosed down with the bug spray compared to everybody else, but it appears it's nationwide.
No. And I had tick phobia because my friend that I was hanging out with, she was so health conscious. She refused to put like flea stuff on her dogs. And I'm like, listen, I love my dogs. I feed them raw food and I don't vaccinate them, but they do get flea and tick. But so she kept picking ticks off her dog. And I'm like, I already have Lyme, so I don't want,
Right.
any more than.
So it looks like Amy tried. I'm totally surprised, Amy, that the Facebook overseers wouldn't allow you to do anything with that. So sorry about that. Yeah, this ain't gonna air. I got to start streaming to X.
You do.
So, I do. I have an X account. I have an X account. I just followed you on there, and I still haven't set up in the background. I do all these things. I run the Mountain Readiness. We have the homestead, and then I do have my own construction company, and then all my own social media, and that there in itself is a full-time job that makes you want to just bash your head against a wall. But it's the only way people communicate. So, it's the two-edged sword. You have to do it. And speaking of ticks, we have here on the East Coast, because you're on the West Coast, correct? You're in
And we don't really have them here. We do up in the
yes.
mountains, but I
I can
mean,
tell you, we
each
have
place now.
been bombarded with ticks,
Oh, I
and
know.
that is actually, of course, they're talking about boxes and finding them with ticks. I've never seen one myself. Who knows? But I will say that down the East Coast, because we're right here in the mountains, Appalachia, right up off the Parkway, and we have thousands of the cases of the alpha gal syndrome, where no one can eat red meat because of the tick bite. And that's actually what is driving a lot of the sales of our products with our chickens, because, we all free range, take care of them, no non-GMO feed, the whole bit. And people are going crazy because they can actually have, we make chicken sausage and things like that. But it's insane how much it's blown up in the past couple of years. People are just left and right catching this. And I'm like, from a tick bite, this sounds not right.
Yeah, I don't ever remember being bit by a tick. So I don't really know how I got Lyme, but I have every
Right.
strain of it that there is to have.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've been whammied with just about anything in my life that's
I don't know if you've
virus,
seen,
bacteria.
check out that I'll text you the link if you've not heard it with Seth, where he brought on, because they were literally talking about Lyme's disease and how to move the needle and get rid of it through cleanses. And I was like, well, this is pretty interesting.
Me and Amy are about to embark on a cleanse. A Cellcore
On a journey.
has great products. And then also I just spoke at the Reawaken America tour this past weekend, the General Flynn Clay Clark event.
Absolutely.
And this guy comes up to me and he has this liquid stuff that he claims cleanses the blood. He's like, I want you to go get a live blood analysis to show you what's in your blood. And he's showing me pictures of people's blood with this nanotechnology in it. And I'm blown away. I'm like, totally freaking me out. So then he's like, here's the before and here's the after. And I'm like, wow. And you take this, it's not cheap, but he gave me a bottle as a gift. He's like, for everything that you do for the kids, I want you to have this. He said, I only brought a few bottles with me, and it's like $2,500 a bottle, but he claims that it will eradicate Lyme. We'll see. I have no idea, but
we've got to readdress this to see how it went.
I will get him a lot of customers if it works for me, because I have every strain of Lyme that there is to have. So we'll see if that works, but I'm hopeful.
Keep us updated. I would love to hear. Right? I've never been tested for it, but I was born and raised in the Boot Hill of Missouri out in the Ozarks, and that's just straight up tick country. I can't even count how many times I've pulled, thousands of ticks over the course of my childhood. We lived in tents. We literally, family of 5, we lived in a tent for a year. We were out in the middle of BFE, nowhere, just nuts.
Like 3 times in my life.
That's insane. That was like morning for me.
And one was just when I was in Austria, and my friend picked a tick off her dog, and she's like, look, and I'm like,
check it out.
No.
Seed ticks are the worst.
Horrible.
The seed ticks, they will be thousands of these little bitty. I don't know if you've seen a seed tick, but it's about 1/8 of a regular sized tick, and they will all congregate on a plant. And you'll be walking through the woods, and as soon as your leg touches that plant, they all jump off on you. So you look down.
Super weird when I go hiking. That one, I cover most parts of my body, but if it's super hot out, I'll go and I'll shower. I shower after. And I'm always like, I'm not touching anything when I'm walking through the woods.
Man, I keep I keep those stupid like Ranger panty shorts on when I'm here at the homestead. I'm outside, no shirt, little ranger shorts because I can see whatever jumps on me, you know. So I've got a pair of shoes, and that way, and that same thing when I was a kid, because when they jump on you, that and I would carry around kerosene. You'd be surprised how fast kerosene works. I just wipe it down my leg, everything's dead. And if you got 1,000 ticks that jump off on your leg, like, you got to work fast, because these things are just crawling up. And if you have pants on, you don't even realize it till it's too late. So shorts, kerosene on a rag, bam, problem solved.
I do not hike in shorts. I do not hike where any part of my lower body is
right.
You know,
yeah, I'm just the opposite. It's about how much clothing do you actually need to be in public hiking. That's what I do. So, you know, I mean, it's a scary thought, but hey, I'm 40 acres out in the middle of nowhere. I run around however I want to. I know we've got just a few minutes, man. This blew through. We're going to have to do this again because there's so much that we didn't even cover. But I want to get to, my wife asked a question here too, but I know your husband was in a job that the insurance companies didn't like him very much. And so he was, this was all going on when Noah had been diagnosed. So you guys got, how did that go down? Because I was listening to some podcasts with you on there, and it sounds like you guys just got completely knocked off the rail.
My husband used to be a restoration contractor, and he refused to work as a preferred vendor for the insurance companies. If you've ever watched The Incredibles, you can see the part where he's coaching the lady, because it's always deny, deny, deny is what they make their insurance adjusters do. Absolutely. So my husband never worked as a preferred insurance adjuster. He worked as a restoration contractor, and he got most of his clients paid on their claims, and most of them that were denied. And so when you keep battling against big insurance, and our insurance commissioner, who was Steve Poizner at the time, owned stock in insurance companies, which shouldn't be
right. That's not really
a
okay.
Conflict of interest there. So anyways, Steve pissed off the wrong insurance adjuster who knew the district attorney. The district attorney knew the insurance commissioner, and then Steve got fined $250,000 for acting as public adjuster. From there, he tried suing Steve Poizner. That didn't go very well either. And to make a long story short, Steve wound up on the front page of the LA Times in a smear campaign, because what they wanted to do is they wanted to discredit him, and they wanted to label him as a crook and a liar. And so he lost his business. His business of 20 years went under because of that article. And he was knocking doors doing cash consulting jobs as I was selling everything we own to pay for Noah's treatments and therapies. I was bartering, negotiating, and selling everything. And then eventually we actually short sailed our house to take Noah to the Ukraine and pay for it. But I do it all over again. It's a very humbling experience. My husband then started a PA firm. They came after him again, and they tried saying that he lied on his application, which he did not. It ended up going for about 3 years, went to trial, and my husband won. And then he sold his PA business to his partner, and then he started Strategic Response Partners. And now he does like disaster management. He refers vendors. Those vendors pay him a percentage, but he consults for free. So there's no contract with the client. Right. And from there, he also he's done a lot of volunteer work down at the border to help catch child traffickers. He responds to disasters when nobody doesn't. He was the first team to respond to Hurricane Helene and provide aid. We raised over $300,000 to provide aid for victims of Hurricane Helene. So we paid for helicopters, pilots, food, water, paramedics, per diem, all those things. And my husband never took a dime. And from there, he also has started up a security company.
Awesome. Sounds like your husband needs to come hang out with us, because we're in the same realm. You know, I've got
he's got a love for America and and guns and
But that's all us right there. I don't know if you've checked out our website, but you know, there's only half of it I can actually talk about on YouTube and Facebook. Now we have, I mean, literally most of 5th group, 7th group, and 10th group. I've got tactical riflemen out there. We've got Sue LaRue does our tracking. You know, all these guys. Sue actually lives down there. He was one of the guys coordinating with helicopter pilots there during Hurricane Helene. My partner Billy Bond, of course, raised about $500,000 with the Living Soil Foundation. They're, you know, because of the toxins that when that flooded, just everything that was in that water, they're trying to get that soil health back. And I mean, it's still a mess down there, but they've been doing a whole lot of work. And so thank you to you and your husband for what you've done, because that hurricane, that relief effort was literally people helping people. That was what that was, 100%.
And he works side by side with Samaritan's Purse. Samaritan's
Purse
is a pretty amazing organization. What they say that they do, they actually do. They're the first ones to typically respond. Steve's always in there before the storm. It seems like he goes.
That's the best way to go.
Yeah, and now he works side by side with Samaritan's Purse. He was also the one who helped coordinate when Bobby Kennedy did the documentary Midnight at the Border. Steve was the one who coordinated, you know, everything with the border sheriffs for Bobby to film that, and then he took Bobby over to Hawaii after the fires in Maui and introduced him to all the.
That's great.
The islanders that were in charge.
We love what you guys are doing. We work with a lot of that with child trafficking and things like that. We've got, you know, TJ Morris, Bear Independent, Caleb House. They do a lot of child recovery. And then, of course, Caleb House put together to make sure these kids have a fighting chance after they've been, you know, rescued. And so we're into all that. Sue, my buddy Charlie Williams, they do a bunch of recovery work and things of that nature. We're 100% on board because, once again, with vaccinations and everything else, it's always the target is the children. Go ahead and take the children out. That's how it's done. My wife had asked here, she had said, and I'm interested, I mean, you guys got beat up just every which way but loose. And of course, all that happening, losing, you know, your husband losing his job and everything while Noah was, you know, deep into autism, trying to get him help. And what does your family think about all of this? And that's what my wife said. She said, how does your family view you now? My family thinks I'm crazy and says going on. And we catch a lot of flack from the family about you guys are conspiracy theorists, nut jobs.
I never got any kickback from my family. My mom was there through most of it, because when my husband's company went under, she came out to help out with the books, and so she was there. She watched it all. She saw him before and after, and what was going on. So my mom's pretty supportive. So and my sister saw it as well. And then so when COVID came, you know, none of them. A couple of my nieces decided to get the vaccine, but other than that, my whole family wasn't on board. They because of Noah, I think Noah saved a lot of lives, and even my mom's friends, a lot of them didn't get the COVID vaccine because they knew about Noah.
Man, that is great. That is great to hear. I know I've got a lot of close friends who are military and were close to retirement at that time, and so, of course, they're like, what am I supposed to do? I'll retire next year. You know, I've got 20 years invest almost in this. And of course, you know, they went ahead with it now.
You can say you've been saved and you can now claim a religious exemption.
Right now, after the fact,
are back and you can claim them.
That's good. That's good. They weren't then, that's for sure.
If you really want to go fight overseas, they're not going to let you go overseas. That's it.
You know, before we wrapped up, I got to ask you this. I don't get into politics very much. I really don't. I mean, I try to stay out of it. It's just one of those areas that I just, you know, I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea, but I know you're working with RFK, and, you know, I was super stoked about the Make America Healthy thing and all this.
Yeah.
And then
I'm one of the newest members of the Interagency Autism Coordinating Committee under Health and Human Services.
Right.
It's a public policy.
That's a mouthful.
Committee.
And so, you know, when I was like, yes, finally, let's start cleaning up this garbage. And then they got rid of what it was, like a red five or something like that. And I was just bummed. I was like,
Red
seriously, red
40.
five,
Mhm.
red 40. I was like,
Mhm.
this is the best we can do. Couldn't it be like yellow five, like the really bad one? And,
Well, they're getting rid of a lot of them. It's not just the red. Yeah.
Has it actually happened yet? My question is this administration, is their hands tied, or are they really putting in the effort and they're just getting a lot of kickback on these things? Because, I know people that go overseas, Italy, they eat pasta all day long and they lose weight and they feel great. We're over here just suffering and bloated up. It's insane, the stuff going on here in our food. And I'm just not seeing the needle move that much.
No. Well, they soak our wheat in chemicals, even when it's organic. Our standards for organic are really low. The way we process things, we can't digest it. It's so different than, if you go back 50 years, right?
Right.
But all these things, it's far different. I don't think Europe is 100%. I'm not here to say
No.
that they're like way better than we
Right.
are. I still have somewhat of a reaction to gluten in Europe, but
Hmm.
I'll slack off a little bit. But when I'm home, I definitely have to watch it unless I take organic wheat berries and I mill them myself.
That is
And
that's
mhm,
an art. That is an art in
yes,
itself. That is a learning curve. We are currently
yes.
delving into that one as well. But
You have to
you
have
know,
a really good miller,
yes, you do.
and they're
And
expensive.
there, everything that is good usually is. So
It was my
you
Christmas
get what you
present.
paid for. Well, that's a perfect Christmas present.
It is.
Um, we are currently, well, I will say but I'm really just a taste tester. My wife is the one that's into all that kind of stuff. She does phenomenal sourdough and, all the things from crackers to bread. We try to keep it simple here at the homestead and stay away from eating in the grocery stores as much as possible. So, we're through our hour. Tell everybody about, because you have Autism Health Inc. You also have the Autism Health Summit that is coming up. The summit
No, it's
is
in end of April. So
end
we
of
just had
April.
it. Hmm.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah, don't put
tell
me back to
everybody,
work yet.
man. People don't understand events, man. I thought it was going to be easy. I was like,
No,
how
now we're
hard can it
working
be?
on
Just yeah.
grant funding for the conference.
Yes, and I hope
Yeah.
you get it. I hope you guys get it.
Thank
But
you.
tell everybody where they can find you at. And of course, this QR code, guys, scan this thing. This will take you right to all the website, all the media, all the stuff. Subscribe, follow, do all the things. But tell
Right.
everybody where they can find you at here.
So if you want my recent articles, going to Substack at Autism Warrior Mom is where all my articles are. And my recent one was a rebuttal to the hit piece that was written on Kennedy and slash me in The Guardian.
Okay.
And that was a really good one. So go ahead and read that one. Um, my book, warriormom.com. If you want to order a hardcover book, you can order it directly through me. I'll sign it and send it to you directly. And if, other than that, my book is sold wherever books are sold online. You can
Awesome.
order it from anywhere. I think it's on sale on Amazon right now, actually.
Good.
Um, and autismhealth.com or healingautism.org. We have two different domains because apparently they want to block autismhealth.com.
Not surprised at all.
So
Kind of like
I
this
had to
video.
I
Kind of
had to
like this
purchase
video when it
another
goes live.
domain. So I have both, by the way. Sorry if I'm confusing you, but we provide monthly webinars. They're free by credentialed doctors speaking on how to address underlying conditions. It's not always about autism, it's underlying conditions. This Saturday, we have Dr. Kurt Wohler, who is going to be talking about methylated B12 and methylation and why
Awesome.
we need methyl B12, especially if you have MTHFR or genetic mutation, all those things. So you can log on for that once a month. We do an autism support group, and
Right.
it's just an open meeting forum. You can share your experience. You can, ask questions. And sometimes we'll get some doctors to log on, but we don't do any lecturing in that. It's just really about the community to be able to interact with each other. And our Autism Health Summit, yes, it is our flagship. You can go to autismhealth.com and click on our events, or you can go to ahsconference.com. And it will be April 29th through May 1st in San Diego. You can also attend online. We do a live virtual, and then you get all the presentation slides and everything with it. And you do have access for up to about 3 years. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that is a wrap. Tracy, thank you so much for coming on here. We're going to have to do this again because I've got all kinds of questions we didn't even get to.
You should get my husband on. You guys
yes,
gel really well.
Well, we need to get you guys out. What you guys doing July 24th through 26th? We'll be in Montana. You should come. You should come hang out.
31st, I have to go to DC. I love Montana.
We are 1 hour,
places in the
1
world.
hour from Glacier National Park. We've got an 80-acre veteran-owned lodge. We've got all the amenities. We're going to be eating elk.
All right,
like, who doesn't want to
saw that, so you'll have to send me the information.
I will send you. I will text you the info, and then we'd love to have you speak. And this is supporting veteran. The reason we did this, we wanted to start. People all over the United States are like, hey, when are you going to come to us? Because I get it. It's 36-hour drive one way if you want to come to Mountain Readiness here, and so I was like, man, let's just take preparedness to the people. So, we started putting dots on the map, and this is Veteran Lodge, and they're, trying to keep the wheels turning.
My husband actually speaks on disaster preparedness. If you ever need somebody to speak on disaster preparedness,
I still got some openings in the West.
Disaster preparedness he's been doing it for over 35 years.
Well, we happen to have some slots available there at Montana, or Mountain Readiness west of Montana. So I can slide him right. All you got to do is say, hey, and camping on site, you don't have to go without showers if you want a tent camp, because we've got shower facilities on site, got a dining hall, seats like 100 people, 2 live fire ranges, and we get into all kinds of stuff at our Mountain Readiness events. I mean, it isn't. We do health, we do homesteading, we do tactics. I mean, we're all over the place. So I'll send you the info if you guys can make it. You are more than welcome, and I'm sure you will have a fabulous time.
I would love it.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. Scan that code while you can. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to jump on with us next Monday. We've got some more awesome people leading up to the event. Tracy, have a wonderful evening. We've got to do this one again.
God bless you, and thank you for all you do.
You as well. Stick around a couple minutes after I get us out of here, and we'll see you guys next time. Remember, stay safe, stay ready.